Currently, there are about 92,000 dams in the United States of America. The last major one was built in 1980. Most dams that are still operational in America are anywhere from 50 to 100 plus years old and crumbling. In the state of California alone, located on the west coast of America, there are around 1,500 dams and more than 1,300 water reservoirs. As the climate keeps changing from season to season and year to year, authorities and researchers in the region are considering what to do with these antiquated dams. Are they worth maintaining as droughts become more frequent, or should they be taken down, given the greater threat to the health and safety of local communities? Let's see what arguments are presented and discover why, in essence, most of America's dams are falling apart. Most large dams in America were built between the 1930s and 1970s during the construction boom. Today, many of these require expensive repairs to avoid catastrophic failures and collapses. One such partial collapse occurred in 2017 at the Oroville Dam in California. In the winter of 2016 to 2017, California received an unusual amount of rainfall, and January and February 2017 were among the wettest months on record for the entire 110-year history of Feather River hydrology. The rivers and lakes were overflowing, and the Oroville Dam was holding back much more than its capacity in very little time. Officials then discovered damage to the main spillway, which they claimed was found through a routine visual inspection. The nearby population was evacuated, and luckily disaster was avoided. But the dam had to undergo costly repairs. The Oroville Dam and reservoir, like many others of its kind, serve multiple purposes. They supply fresh water to the local population, generate hydroelectricity, and are used to control flooding. The construction and repair costs of dams used for electricity, however, are steep and known to rank among the highest for cost overruns, as compared to other types of mega projects like wind and solar. Also, river and lake ecosystems have been heavily impacted by dams in America since the construction boom of the 30s to 70s. Some critics say that dams should be taken down and not repaired or constructed, as most of them are aged and crumbling anyway. As we've seen, Mother Nature's changing moods significantly impact the functioning of dams in America. Surges in water levels and strong currents cause lasting damage to the dams. This is particularly problematic in the Midwest, where heavy rainfall and flooding have been occurring more frequently in the past decade. Another example of a partial dam failure occurred just this summer in June 2024. The Rapidan Dam in Minnesota, a concrete-made gravity dam, is only used for hydroelectric power. This past June, the dam suffered a partial failure as the water level of the Blue Earth River reached an uncontrollable level. The water surge carried a shipping container with it as it toppled utility poles, wrecked a substation, and washed away part of a riverbank, one report stated. Another report mentioned that no one was injured or killed by the partial dam collapse, but a few houses were swept away, and a beloved local store had to be demolished before it too fell into the river. Constructed in 1910, this dam is 114 years old and could not withstand the full force of the Blue Earth River. The Army Corps of Engineers even classified the dam as significant hazard potential in poor condition, meaning if it were to collapse, it would be disastrous for human life, infrastructure, and the environment alike. The state of Michigan is one region in America with dams in particularly worrisome conditions. One reporter states that Michigan stands out among its Midwest neighbors because 11 of the 13 dams currently in service are classified as high hazard in poor condition. The cost of repairs is unimaginable, especially for small towns. For instance, one town in Michigan chose to destroy the Peninsular Paper Dam because this choice was much more cost-effective than the almost yearly repairs it would have required. Many of the dams no longer even serve their original purpose, and as such, they no longer provide the local authorities with any or as much revenue. In fact, in 2023, 79 dams were removed, and an amazing 1,160 upstream river miles were reconnected. This has multiple fantastic benefits for wildlife and ecosystems, such as reestablishing migration corridors and promoting biodiversity. There are also no more costs for maintenance, and taxpayer dollars can be spent on other infrastructure, road repairs, and community projects. Finally, these communities where dams were removed can now become much more resilient to climate change, Projects for dam removal, especially of older and damaged ones, are springing up all over America. The National Dam Removal Community of Practice hopes to achieve the removal of 30,000 dams by 2050. So, as we've seen, the crumbling state of America's old and decrepit dams is a pressing issue that warrants attention. A combination of factors that we have discovered is contributing to the problem at hand. Many, if not most, of the dams are 50 to 100 plus years old and require constant maintenance to keep them functioning. Some of the dams are so antiquated that they no longer serve their original purpose and are simply hazardous to the local community. The drastic changes in climate have caused increased rainfall and flooding in many regions. The dams are not only unequipped for those unprecedented water levels, but are also too old to support such surges. Smaller communities and regions with a great many dams are not able to upkeep the dams and reservoirs. Hazardous signs seen in routine checks send authorities into alert mode, but not much else can be done other than evacuation, as the risk becomes too high with available funds. The consequences of dam failures are severe, with potential risks to human life, property, and the environment. It's hoped that in regions of the United States of America like California and Michigan, authorities will take proactive steps to address the issue. However, as outlined, the constantly changing climate has meant that droughts are more frequent, and dams are a lifeline to the communities most at risk. Hence, it is worth, in some cases, repairing the dams and reservoirs despite the astronomical and yearly increasing costs. The well-being of the communities directly affected by this infrastructure is of paramount importance. The pressing question now is how to strike a balance between ensuring the safety of people and addressing the pressing need for repairs. On one hand, they are crumbling and antiquated dams that pose significant risks to the people and environment downstream, threatening the very fabric of the communities that rely on them. On the other hand, building new dams with stronger materials and cutting-edge techniques could provide a safer and more reliable solution. Repairs and new builds require significant investment, hence adding the dimension of the cost of progress to the argument. In light of what we've discovered, what is crucially needed is an approach that prioritizes the safety of people while respecting the needs and natural course of local ecosystems. What are your thoughts? Does America need more and newer dams, or should they keep taking them down? And do you live in a region with a crumbling dam in America? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, watch more over on the Urban Jungle channel.